I feel it's time for a bit of an update about on where I'm at, what's going on. Obviously, I posted a few weeks ago talking about starting a new plan, getting myself back on track, stuff like that. And I thought it was probably time to do a bit of an update. So since I've been back from World's Strongest Man, getting married, everything else, been busy. I've been on the road a bit, been doing some shoots with Bad Rhino, done a seminar, got a few things coming up in the near future as well. Got another seminar this weekend. I am at UK Strongest Man on the Sunday, I believe it's the 29th. I've got an appearance there for Body Power / Fitness Superstore. So that should be fun. I'll be doing a few little grip things there as well, where we'll be running some competitions. So that should be fun if anyone's coming along for it. So, right, let's get into it. So, started off with a diet, set out my plan. I obviously showed in the previous video what I was doing. I sort of set myself at around about 3,600 calories, plus I gave myself a bit of wiggle room with sauces and stuff like that. So, probably all in all was about 4,000 a day. I've been pretty consistent with that. I made some great progress as well. So I am currently sitting at 145.9 now. So when I got back from the wedding and World's Strongest Man, I was 160. So I am 14.1 kilos down. And as a side note, a positive thing is my trainers started picking up as well. So I've been a lot more consistent with my training since I've been back. Been just doing upper lower split, upper lower. That works well for me at the moment because I am on the road a bit. It just makes sure that I get everything covered with the right sort of frequency that I want to. Yes, the upper body sessions take a little bit longer than doing a push-pull legs, or push-pull lower, should I say, because I do deadlifts as part of my lower session. But I've just found it's worked better for me this way, because if I do miss a couple of days because I'm on a shoot, it's not the end of the world. So that has been pretty consistent for a little while. I have made some changes to my diet. So in terms of calories, I'm still doing the same. I've sort of managed my carbohydrate intake around training. I've increased my fat slightly, just so I could have some sort of nicer tasting meats and stuff. Decreased my carbs slightly just to balance that out, because I'm a big believer, unless you're going to get on stage or a performance related sport, if you're just trying to drop a bit of body fat, build a bit of muscle, you know, do all that sort of stuff, the protein and the calories are the important bits. And whether you go high fat, low carb, low fat, it doesn't matter that much. You get a little bit of a weight fluctuation either way, because if you've got more carbs in your system, you'll generally hold a bit more water. Most of that would be retained within the muscle, so it's not an issue. But yeah, ultimately the calories and the protein for most of us that are not doing some specific goal is the two important things. So I have changed things around a little bit, where I eat all of my carbs around training time, pre-training and post-training, just so I've got my energy levels from the before training carbs and the after training carbs, is because the carbs, basically what happens is, in sort of simple terms, you deplete the muscle while you're training, so all your glycogen stores get depleted. You then need to replace that, so I have the carbs straight after. And the benefit of having protein and carbs together after training is it gets drawn straight into the muscle through the sort of transport systems and everything else, to put in it sort of as basically as possible. So basically, if you have carbs and protein after training, that will all get sucked straight into the muscle, because your muscle's trying to absorb the carbs back in to replace the glycogen stores. So I've basically done that. So my afternoon and evening meals are protein only, mainly, and fat, obviously. I don't have carbs in those, but I do have salad or vegetables, which obviously is for my fiber intake, and fiber is a carbohydrate. So I'm not going zero carb, I'm just going low carb on those meals. The training time carbohydrates is pre-training is some rice cakes. I have a bit of peanut butter on those and a bit of salt, just for electrolyte purposes, but also it tastes better, I think. And then post-training, I have a chicken and rice meal with some vegetables. And then after that, I tend to just have meats. So I've been having some lean beef burgers with salad. And sometimes I've actually been having like not lean beef burgers, so I have some actual like normal fat burgers, steak burgers, so just a bit nicer. And I can allow that into my diet and not blow my calories. So that's what I've been doing with my diet. And yeah, I've been making some great progress. It's been really good. Now, I'm not someone that really sort of believes in this zero carb diet, the carnivore diet and things like that. Not a big believer. I think that you do need some carbohydrates around training time for energy purposes. And I know that I'll probably get a bit of flack off people that are like carnivore people. But personally, I feel like my energy levels during training are much better if I eat carbohydrates around training. So that's why I'm doing it. It seems to be working well, so yeah, can't really complain. I have got a couple of little updates. I've got a part in a movie that I start filming beginning of July. So that's exciting, and it's good motivation for me because I basically just want to be in a bit better shape for it. The part I am doing, it's sort of like a gritty gangster movie with some fighting involved and things like that, the movie, and some MMA scenes as well. I'm not doing those obviously because I'm not an MMA fighter, but I have got a part where I don't have to speak, but I have got to do a few fight scenes. So that should be fun. And obviously part of the reason I got it is because they want me to look as imposing as possible. So I need to be in pretty decent shape for it. So that's exciting. I mean, it's not any big budget movie, but you know, it's exciting for me. It's a bit of fun, and you know, it should still be a good movie. I know the producer that's doing it has won BAFTA awards and things like that. So it's not like a joke thing, but it's not a high budget Hollywood type movie. So, but who knows in the future? I mean, you know, if I enjoy it and it's something that I want to get into a bit more, then maybe I'll try and pursue that a little bit. But at the moment, it's kind of just cool to be involved. Obviously, we've got Royal Albert Hall, which I'm going to do a video about in the very near future. That's the next big strongman comp coming up. Amazing lineup. But obviously, yeah, we'll do that in a separate video completely. It's going to be fantastic. Royal Albert Hall always is. So I'm actually filming on the Friday, my second day of filming, and then I travel up after that. So that should be good. We are in the process of moving as well. So this is a big step in the life changes. We, if all goes to plan, me and Pernilla will be moving up north, end of July. Main reason being is because hopefully going to get involved in a few things more with Giants Live, which will be good. Me and Darren have been pals for a long time and sort of have a lot of ideas of some things that we can work on together. So that's something that we'll be looking at doing. And obviously part of the reason for moving is just because it's a nicer area than where I live, to put it bluntly. It's much more sort of calm and peaceful, which is probably what I want at this point in life. And hopefully gets doing some sort of coaching up there as well, some more in-person coaching, because we'll have some sort of a base there and things like that. So I can start getting a little bit more involved in doing that, which will be nice. I did it for the seminar the other week and it made me realise how much I miss doing in-person coaching. So that's definitely something that I want to start doing more of moving forwards. And yeah, it's just a better pace of life for us where we're at the moment. So yeah, some big changes going ahead. Obviously just got married, now moving, movie coming up, strongman season still 100 miles an hour as well, which is great. So yeah, a lot going on. And obviously that and trying to sort of get my body in check as well. So a little bit with my training, my numbers are going up quite well, and they have done the last couple of weeks especially. I'm, you know, just an example, my shoulder press, I was doing machine work because it's a little bit more stable on my shoulder after my lat injury, but the weights that I was sort of doing 3 or 4 reps with, I'm now doing 8s, 9s and 10s. So it's been a noticeable increase the last few weeks. Now, what would I put that down to? See, the thing is, I was so inconsistent with my training for a few months. After the lat injury, I was struggling. Physically, I was struggling, but mentally as well. I just couldn't get motivated. So even if I did get in the gym, I wasn't pushing myself. Because of sort of where my head was at, I perhaps wasn't as focused with my diet as I should have been, and, you know, wasn't sort of looking after myself as well as I usually do. But I think since I've been back from America and my training's been consistent, my diet's been completely consistent, I have been focusing on doing the right things at the right times. I even did a bit of cardio today. So, you know, it's been a combination of doing everything better. I wouldn't say it's any one thing that's made the change, but the change has been quite dramatic. And I think this is the thing. It's sort of, I always, when I go through these processes of trying to like get myself, drop some body fat or change my physique, I always sort of go low hanging fruit first. So get consistent with my training, try and get consistent with my diet. And it's not always everything at once, although it has been this time. Sometimes it's right. First focus is getting my training consistent again and get that back into the routine. Then I start to implement some good changes with my diet. And then I'll sort of completely sort of go all in on that. And by the time you've sort of done both of those things, making sure I'm sleeping better, that's another thing that sort of I've really addressed. The water intake, I could still be better. I'm not doing as well as I should on that. You know, these are the things that you sort of need to focus on first. I think we all sort of want these sort of quick fixes, but the best things you can do are making sure you're sleeping right, making sure you're eating right, making sure you're training right. You know, all these basic things. Do those first, and then you can start to look for the things that are going to give you that slight bit of difference. I mean, ultimately, if you sort of make all these changes with those small changes and those basic things, get all those right, that probably covers 90% of what it takes to get there. And then the smaller things where you start talking about supplements and stuff like that, maybe even extra supplements for some people, you know. But ultimately, if you get all those things in place first, you're 90% of the way there. Then you can worry about the extra 10%, because for most people, for what they want to achieve and what they want to do, if they got those things right, that would pretty much get them where they want to be. So that's always my first point of call with myself and with my coaching clients. Tick all the boxes of the easy things first, the low-hanging fruit, and then move on to the things that are a bit more advanced. And yeah, I've basically just been doing the basics very well. And this is something that I always preach with clients, sort of coaching, you know, all that side of things. And even when I'm just trying to give people advice, you don't need these fad exercises, although they're not, you know, people see, oh, maybe that's the answer to the changes that I need to make. Or, you know, there'll be some new diet plan that's like special. I mean, I've seen people doing the sugar diet at the moment, which seems like a completely bizarre thing to me. But that's something that's sort of going around at the moment and people are jumping on it. If you just do all the basics very well, and it's not sexy and it's not glamorous, and there's no like answer, do the basics well and be consistent and work hard, you're most of the way there. And I think that this is the problem. Everyone's trying to sell diet plans, training plans, things like this. They've got to show that they're doing something different, but ultimately the basics work very well, and that's generally the thing that gets you where you want to be. It's just not as glamorous to sell it. You know, you try and say to someone, what you need to do is just go in and do all these sort of heavy compound movements, add in some extra sort of accessory work, make sure you're eating a good, well-balanced diet. It kind of just takes the consistency of keep doing that. It's kind of not sexy, is it? So, but that is ultimately what you need to do. And I'm a big believer in just doing the basics very well. And then obviously when you start getting to very advanced levels, then you start having to nitpick little things, like with carb manipulation and high carb days, low carb days, you know, especially when you get super lean, you might look a bit flat if you've not got enough carbs in your system. So you might need some high carb days to sort of fill back out and look muscular, and, you know, but most people don't need to worry about these things. Just do the basics very well. And that's basically what I've been doing. And yeah, like I said, it's making some good changes. Obviously not dramatic changes. It's not a sprint, it is a marathon. It takes a bit of time. It's took me probably a year to put on a good amount of fat. I have to accept it's going to take a little while to come off. It's not going to come off overnight. It's moving in the right direction, which is the main thing. Body weight's coming down, strength numbers are going up. I think my body fat percentage is coming down. It certainly looks that way. So I am happy with where I'm at. And like I said, a lot of exciting stuff in the pipeline, a lot of stress as well, because as you all know, getting married and moving houses are two of the most stressful things you can do. And we're doing both of them within a couple of months. So yeah, exciting times, but stressful times. But I know it's sort of going to be good for the future, especially with a couple of the things that sort of we're talking about doing, like me, Darren with Giants Live. I think that it's going to sort of lead to some exciting times for us within Strongman, and also for me, it enables me to get a bit more involved in a few things which I really enjoy doing. So positives all round. And like I said, the next video I'll be doing will be a Royal Albert Hall review. It's a Strongman Classic. We'll go through the athletes, the events. I think that that's going to be a hell of a show, as always. I do believe it's sold out, but obviously you can catch me on the live stream doing commentary. So yeah, make sure you get onto officialstrongman.com and get yourself signed up for that. Anyway, I'll catch you soon. Hopefully that wasn't too boring for you. And any questions about the diet, the training, I'm happy to always try and respond to people, as I sort of regularly do. Drop a comment in the drop a question in the comments, should I say, and I will get back to you. And like I said, I'm always here to help. Try and give advice. I'm not saying I know everything, but I do know a lot about training and nutrition. So if I can do anything to help anyone get on their journey, then I'm more than happy to do that. So yeah, feel free to ask away. Thanks for watching. Catch you soon. See you in the next video.